I'm Chef Tom. I'm here to make food for you, right? It's fun to try the new things and taste new stuff at home. So we try to give you a little insight on how to do some simple meals and things like that. Today, as you can see, we are working with watermelons, right? Everybody's favorite fruit in the summertime. Nothing screams summer like watermelon. So all I have to say is there's more than one thing to do with a watermelon, right? Most people just chop it up in wedges or slices and out to the picnic table it goes. But if you spend a little time with your watermelon in the kitchen, not that you have to get to know it or anything like that, but imagine what it can do for you if you try some new stuff. So I got a half a dozen things I want to show you here today. So I'll move slowly enough for you to keep up, but suffice to say, there's a little bit of everything, including an entree and an appetizer. So let's go ahead and start by doing the manicuring the watermelon. That's the most important part, right? Is you got to take the skin off this thing. So they're usually pretty big. As you can see, I've cut it in half. I took a couple of solid slices right out of the center at about 1.5 inches thick, or about an inch or inch and a half, because I'm going to make grilled pizza with one, and I'm going to do an hors d'oeuvre with the other. The remainder is perfect for cutting up in large cubes or small cubes and doing different recipes with. But in order to get to that nice sweet red flesh on the inside, the best method that I know is to come down and cut the watermelon in half first of all, make it a little easier for you to manage. Then I spin it over on this side and I'll take just the cap off, right? Just to reveal that red flesh in there and lay it flat on the big side. From there, as I said, I think I demonstrated this before, the act of paring is when you take the skin off of a piece of fruit, usually oranges and apples and things of that nature. But we can do it with the watermelons too, and you just slide right that knife just above that white part, and you curve the knife down, and then just reach right in there where it starts again, and just turn that knife down so you can get a nice kind of a rounded piece that comes out of it. And all you're doing is taking off all that skin and all that white unripened portion of the watermelon. So this stuff makes great compost if you do that kind of thing. It also is wonderful in a pickling jar, right? Which is also pretty good. Watermelon's so naturally sweet that when you pickle it with a little salt and vinegar and some seasonings, it makes a really nice dish, really nice snack. You can even make it kind of spicy and put some cherry peppers in there or something like that. So we're just following along here, and we're taking off the skin, and we're close to done. I bought seedless watermelons today. They're definitely the ones you want to use while you're doing cooking, any type of things like that. Certainly keep those big black seeds out of the way, and that's not really what we're looking for. So from here, there's a lot of things you can do. Number one, I'm going to go at about 1/2 inch or so, and just take one nice thin slice and set that off to the side for the time being. We're going to come back to it. The rest of it, I'm going to just start to chop up into smaller pieces, right? So you can do this in the rounds like this, or you can lay it in half and cut it down like this, a little at a time, and try to find some room on your board. I like these nice thin slices because then it's a pretty simple chop the rest of the way. You can kind of determine how thick you want these. I'm doing them at about 1/2 to 1/4 inch julienne right now. This is going to be part of our salad. So we'll go ahead and chop this up. Once you have them all cut in one direction, just turn the whole pile if you can, or move the cutting board if you need to, and then cross cut, and your watermelon salad is on the way. Notice no black seeds. That's the bonus of these seedless watermelons. So really, really very nice. So I'll just bring our bowl over here, and we'll try to scoop all this up in here. Here, we'll do this. We'll set this aside. We'll set our steak aside, and we'll put this watermelon up here like this. There we go. Nice. This is a nice side dish for your table, so keep that in mind. Okay. Maybe a little too much. Next step, we've got some diced cucumbers here. I use the English style cucumbers. They're the long, thin ones, folks. They're wrapped in plastic usually. They generally sell them by the piece. These are English cucumbers, and they're basically, they call them seedless because the seeds are really, really small, so you can go ahead and ingest those, and it's not too bad for your dish. The other thing I like about it is the skin is really easy to eat, and it digests well, and it's actually pretty tasty. The regular cucumbers that you see, the 3 for $1 or whatever they are, Those are waxy skin cucumbers, and there are tons of seeds inside of them. So if you're going to use those, make sure you peel the skins off entirely before you put it into a salad type of mix like this. And if you can, use a melon baller or a small spoon to scoop out some of those seeds in there. That'll make it a little bit nicer. So we're going to just add our cucumber over here to the watermelon that we have. More room, obviously. Next, we're going to add feta cheese. That's a real nice additive there. We're going to squeeze on some lime. I like the acid in limes, and it really brings out the flavor of the cucumber, and it balances real nicely with that sweet watermelon. So a little bit of acid is always kind of nice. We're going to take that, toss that up a little bit. Let's make a real nice salad for you. Okay, and then our basil and our mint, right? So basil and mint are wonderful herbs to use with fruit. They got a great flavor, and it's a real nice color accent as well. So as you can see, I took the leaves all off and I piled them all up. I stacked them in a nice, neat stack. Now I take that stack and just kind of roll it up good and tight because I want to cross-cut this stuff. We call this Chiffonade Cut, and it means confetti style. So you roll it up into that nice little shape, and then real thin slices with your knife, keeping your fingers and your thumbs out of the way. You just want to cross-cut against that grain there, and all those little leaves will fall into a small pile of confetti, which is going to be perfect for our salad. So again, the basil and the mint, nice additive to that. We'll give it a little stir real quick just to blend some of those colors together. Right? And that's really all you have to do. Serve it nice and cold, and if you'd like, you can just garnish it with a few blueberries like that. So that's a nice salad dish that I think you're going to enjoy. We'll set that here for our production manager to enjoy. All right. Okay, clean our area real quick. All right, on to the next. So you'll notice that I tend to use a lot of those similar ingredients throughout the whole board here today, and just depends upon how you put them together. So for our cocktail drink, this is our version style, so there's no alcohol in it, but we have some diced watermelon. Again, we took the cucumbers, the English style. I took the skin off fully for this because I want to blend it and make a drink. So these things go into our Vitamix, our blender. If you have a nice one like this at home, it's perfect. I've got a cup of ice, a couple cups of ice, and then the cucumbers go in. Okay, next we add just again, trying to balance flavors here. So we add a little bit of honey. You don't have to pour it this high, but I like to because it's fun. Back to our acid again. Little acid helps balance that sweetness and a little bit of the pepperiness of the basil and mint that go into here as well. So you can just toss that stuff right in there. If you have a food processor, this will work. If you have a terrific blender like this, then just go to town. There is to it. It's a nice culotta type drink. I'm going to move this tray out of the way for us. And we're ready to serve in our nicely garnished glasses. And we pull off our...
To make it with a little something, something.
Yeah.
What would you add to it?
Actually, it's a great question, Ashley. So a lot of us enjoy a nice summertime cocktail, and there's certainly no reason why you can't add all this luscious fruit to your libation, okay? That being said, you would first put in the amount of spirits that you prefer into the glass. I would recommend about 30 milliliters of like a clear, like a vodka would probably be the best choice, I think. Rum would work okay, but I think you really got to be into the sweet stuff there. So first you pour your vodka into the glass, then you go ahead and pour in your culotta on top of it, and you have stuff that you can serve not only to your guests over for dinner, but to the nice kids out on the back patio or in the pool, okay? So that's a nice drink that you guys can try at home if you choose. Okay, moving along, we are going to prep up another little dish here for you. This one you can see, once again, I'm calling on some similar flavors. We've got the watermelon here. A little bit of feta cheese is going to be our garnish, along with that basil that we cut up and mint. I have what we call a balsamic glaze here, right? A little tough to find in Wegmans, but it is there. It's in like the European style food products and whatnot, Italian cuisine and whatnot. But it's a terrific balance of, again, sweetness and tartness that are going to be wonderful for our watermelon pizza. So this is my little pressurized olive oil sprayer. I'm sure a lot of you have these things. If you don't like to use the canisters of canola oil and stuff like that on the market, then you can get one of these little sprayers, okay, and just pump a little air into it, and that puts a nice coating of olive oil on one side of the watermelon for us. We're gonna do both sides of that. We'll end up flipping this. So here's the tricky part, folks. If you're out at home and you have a backyard patio and a wonderful barbecue, you can heat that sucker up to about 500 degrees, and once the grate is good and hot, you just simply put that watermelon steak right on there and let it sear for about 3 to 4 minutes, okay? Since we're inside here at the Y, we don't have that capability, so what we do have is the old George Foreman grill back at you. So coming hot. Look at that. Put that right in there. We'll slap the top down. Okay, and we're going to let that sucker cook for about 3 or 4 minutes. It might take a minute or two extra because it's not quite as hot as what you can achieve with the temperature of your gas grill, but nonetheless, the procedure is it's pretty similar. So if you want to try the grilled watermelon pizza at home, I'd say this is a terrific, at least segue into it. So we're going to come back to that while the watermelon's cooking, and we'll finish that at the very end, okay? Onto our hot pans here. I've got 2 saute pans heating up. I thought I did. I always have trouble with these. There we go. Saute pans are heating up. So that steak that we had cut earlier, we wanted to keep that nice thin one. And we're going to actually turn that into like a legitimate looking steak, right? We're going to just kind of cut it into some nice pieces, right? Kind of oblong shape, if you will. Maybe a little diagonal on it or something like that. I think that's a nice looking piece of fruit, and that's going to be part of our watermelon pan sear. So once again, we're going to get a little bit of olive oil on this. We're going to put that side down in order to sear it. We'll check the temperature of our pan. We want it to be good and hot. While we're doing that, I'll explain the rest of the ingredients. You're not going to believe it, but while you're grilling a watermelon steak, there's nothing that says you can't top it with a salmon fillet. So that's what we have here. I'm not going to season this with salt and pepper yet. I'm just going to go ahead and give it the same treatment with a little bit of olive oil on the one side so we can sear that in the pan. Okay, and as you recall, salmon takes about 5 to 7 minutes to cook entirely, so that's what we're going to do there. In with the watermelon, we should get a nice sear on that. We're just going to let it sit there and not move for a few minutes so we can get a nice caramelized coating of some of those natural sugars that are in there. And then same thing with the salmon. Probably a little bit of olive oil in the pan we're going to need for this one. Right, it's just a nice delicate protein. We'll just set that there in the pan. And now these two things are going to sear for us. I'll turn my fan on. Okay. So the remaining ingredients for this entree dish is quite simple. This is called chimichurri. Right? This is old school type of production too, folks. This is where you take a little bit of that basil and a little bit of the mint and you put it into a mortar and pestle and an olive oil. And you just keep grinding that. I've probably been grinding this for 15 minutes at least just to get a nice oily paste out of it. So similar to a pesto, you can use a food processor at home if you wanted to do that. I certainly don't have a problem with that, but it's a big machine for such a small amount of chimichurri, so I just wanted to do it au naturel, if you will, today. So get my spatula. And we'll just take a quick check. Yeah. Just toss that guy over like that. Remember, the idea isn't necessarily to cook a watermelon all the way through. You're not trying to get it to a certain temperature. All you're trying to do is get that nice caramelized black coating on there for it. That's going to be the base on our plate. So I'll shut that guy off for a moment or two. Take a quick peek at our grilled watermelon over here. See how that's doing. Oh yeah, see? So again, these brown char marks is what we're really looking for in a grilled watermelon. You can do it on both sides, so we'll flap that one over there real quick and set that back to doing its job. We can come over here, it's been a couple of minutes. We'll check our salmon fillet. It seems to release fairly easily from the pan. That's a good indicator that it's almost time to flip. If you have any resistance, that means it's not quite done searing yet. So give it a second to go ahead and finish that searing process. And we'll turn that guy right over like that. There we go. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, back to our steak. We shut this pan off. We're gonna just put this right in the center of our plate for right now. And we're gonna continue to cook our salmon fillet for just another minute more. While we do that, let's move on down the road here, and then we'll take a look at some other fun things that you can do with it. So I went ahead and cut some large squares. These are about a 1-inch size cube, just out of the heart of that melon. So it's real sweet, there's no seeds in there, and it's just absolutely delicious. So this is just a fun one I like to put out on the counter when guests come over with a charcuterie board or a cheese plate or something like that. I put on a pretty decent amount of that red pepper flake, which I love the spice on that so much, and then a little bit of this beautiful all-natural Fleur De Sol, this is called. Fleur De Sol is a salt that's taken right from the sea in Italy. It's a beautiful flavored finishing salt, and I think you're really going to enjoy that quite a bit. I'll grab my balsamic glaze real fast, just a couple squirts of that, and then a quick toss. You can toss it like you're rolling stuff in your saute pan, or you can use a spoon, and then into our little watermelon dish here. And we've got some salty, hot, peppery watermelon, and you can serve it with some nice toothpicks. I think when your guests walk in the door and you have a watermelon cocktail and this kind of thing waiting for them, I think they'll truly enjoy that. So we'll set that over here. Okay, our salmon fillet is looking pretty good now, pretty typical. It's mostly pink all the way through. I like it a little soft, a little bit under on the underdone side is usually best for me, and that's going to go right atop our watermelon steak, just like that grilled watermelon steak. Okay, last we do is our chimichurri. We bring that over for our garnish. Okay, and I'll just pull the mortar and pestle out. If you don't have a mortar and pestle, you should maybe get one. There you go. So we're just going to top this thing with a little bit of that chimichurri to make it just a beautiful dish. Get some of that nice oil down below. Put a little on the plate, dress it up a little. And even right on that watermelon, it's just lovely. Okay. Grilled watermelon with salmon fillet and mint chimichurri. That's a nice entree dish. Your guests are really going to be blown away. And then back to the old Foreman grill. Okay, just want to shut that off for safety. We'll bring our plate back. And we will grab a pair of tongs, pull our watermelon steak off of the grill. You can see it's got some nice char marks on it, just like that, right onto the plate it goes. Okay, and then we're going to bring this over here so I can dress that up real nicely. First for me is to take this and just slice it nicely down the center, and then get it into at least 6 or 8 pieces. It's kind of nice pizza shape, if you will. Everybody's familiar with it. You can make small pieces if you like. Large ones, doesn't matter. It's a really interesting combination of flavors and a great way to serve your watermelon. Now that you have your grilled watermelon steak, on comes the garnish. Started with a little bit of this feta cheese that we like so much. Great balance of flavor with feta and watermelon. And again, the basil and the mint combination puts a nice little green accompaniment of color on there. And then I take these onions. I pickle onions at home a lot. I pickle a lot of things, but these are pickled onions that go right on top of that watermelon steak as a great garnish. Real simple to make, just a red onion sliced really thinly, and I put it into a combination of vinegar and water and a little sugar and salt, and then some pickling seasonings. And I set this in the fridge for a couple days. Okay, and voila, you have your perfect watermelon pizza. I do this slice here. There we go. There we go. Look at that. Nice watermelon pizza for you. Again, we're getting close. A couple more things and we'll be ready to rock. I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing with the watermelon today. And then last over here, we just wanted to do a couple of hors d'oeuvres, and sometimes I pull out all the stops in my kitchen. I get some stuff I haven't used in a long time. So I have these ring cutters, and I think some people have ring cutters and some don't. I happen to have some in a flower shape. So as you can see, before I peeled that watermelon or pared it, I sliced a nice like 1.5 inch thick piece of watermelon out of the center. And I'm going to go ahead and pop those out and just set them with these little floral shapes. Again, this is the kind of thing you can do ahead of time. Your guests can be there. It's real easy to pull out of the fridge and serve immediately, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So from there, I take my melon baller, and we're just going to scoop out a little bit of that watermelon in the center, just enough to hold the dressing, right? Which is a combination of, again, our feta cheese, our English cucumber, a little basil, and a little mint. We'll just stir that stuff up all together. It makes for a nice, bright flavor. Okay, squeeze a lime over the top, get that acid in there, and then it takes a little time to do so, but spend a few minutes to fill each one of those cups with the little cheese and cucumber combination, and you have a really nice presentation. This is one of those head turners at a picnic that you're invited to. Everybody wants to know who made the little watermelon flowers, so I'm sure you'd like to be that person. I'd like to be that person. Just real quickly, we'll finish up and then just recap on everything. Some of that diced watermelon that I had that at a real small dice, and this is, again, sort of one of those impactful type of appetizers that you put out at a party, but it doesn't take a whole lot of difficulty. Just chop up that watermelon nice and fine, real good. Come back to our cucumbers. We'll sprinkle some cucumbers on there. Again, a lot of the same ingredients because they all work so well together. This touch of the lemon or the lime juice, and then a little bit of that feta cheese that we had left over, and clearly some green stuff, right? Same combination of stuff, folks. You see it every time, and we have the right tool somewhere. Spoon. What do I do with my spoon? Oh, here it is. Ugh, my bad. Sorry, folks. Right, here we go. Just give this a quick toss. Just like that. Real pretty. And then I like to pull these fun things out of the cupboard and serve them in these little cups, little spoons. It's just a fun way to start a party. Gets people in the right frame of mind, especially during the summertime. It's so nice. Oh yeah. Clear our plate off a little bit. Presentation counts. Okay, there we go. And there you go. Just quick little spoons full of that flavorful and refreshing watermelon feta salad with cucumber. We'll set that over here. As you can see, if you join us here at the Y, you get a lot of great ideas. We've got the watermelon salad in the spoons. Don't forget about that fillet of salmon on a grilled watermelon steak. Some peppery, hot, and salty watermelon cubes. A lovely blueberry salad here with the watermelon and cukes. Watermelon pizza. Give it a shot, folks, and then and enjoy your watermelon culotta. Thanks very much.